Yeah, Mike, earlier this week you said that you really count on Mac and Sam to tell the rest of them stories. And I mean, of course, y'all had some adversity tonight without still Talia and then Sailor as well. Just what'd you think of how those two, I guess, kind of steered the ship?
Uh, Overachieved. I mean, they had a heck of a story to tell, but that's what they did for the 2 days. You know, we knew Sailor wasn't going to practice, and we got Carly in there. When we played in Kentucky, we knew it was going to be a 4 guard lineup. So we got Carly in there, and I think our kids just really did an amazing job pumping her up, telling her how she could impact the game. And here's the thing, like, she's been really good in practice. I mean, we tend to only play 7 or 8, and she's always been that next kid, you know. So she's played really well in practice. She's always been on good teams playing in her all of her life, doing exactly. But you would have never, I mean, I can't even imagine what a betting line would have been. Sorry, I'm not supposed to talk about betting lines, but I mean, just what that would have been that she would come in and do what she did, and defensively too. So very rewarding. But you know, Mac and Sam and did an unbelievable job. I thought Miriam's calming way about Miriam. If y'all been around Miriam, y'all know she's just got this calming spirit about her. But coaches got her pumped up. Teammates got her pumped up. You know, I heard. Well, I mean, she actually found out she was starting from Sailor, not me. When Sailor went and told, I told Carly, I asked her, I said, are you one of those kids that want to know if you're starting right then, or do you want to find out at game time? She said, well, Sailor already told me. So I've got to check with Sailor and make sure we're on the same page with the rest of what we're doing. But I just kind of laughed about that. I think Sailor probably told her she wasn't playing, and we had practiced Carly, but it was kind of a funny story now that we won.
Can you just give us an update, I guess, on those two?
Yeah. Talia will be back, I think, tomorrow. I have to double check it. I think tomorrow in contact. She's been going 2 days without contact. So any shooting drills we did, you know, but there's still a ramp up period. I'm not hopeful for Sunday, but we'll start to look forward there. The plan with Sailor will be to play as tolerated. She just couldn't tolerate it today. I made an error in trying to let her play at LSU. I should have not and rested her maybe down there. But looking back at it, in hindsight, everything happens probably for a reason. But we learned, you know, Sailor's just one of those kids that's never going to tell you she's hurt. So I have to do a really good job of monitoring whether she's injured or whether she's hurt. So we put together a 3-month plan. It's all spelled out. It's between me and her and our athletic trainers, and we're going to live up to it. We're going to modify some things for her in practice so that she can maximize minutes in games. But it sure is nice to know that if there is a night when she doesn't feel well, that we can have confidence to, you know, not have to play her injured. If she's hurt, there's always going to be some pain involved in those things, but trust in her tolerance. You know, but again, I thought our defense was really hooked up, and that was a lot of communication on our kids' part too.
I mean, it was really ironic. Y'all fall down at LSU 18-0. Then you take an 18-0 lead here tonight. I know starts have been hard for y'all. What'd you think was made the team be able to do that tonight?
We changed everything in warmups. So I don't know. I don't know that had anything to do with it. But we changed what we did at shoot around. We changed what time we stretched. We changed when we shot. We changed what time we went to the locker room. We walked at the very beginning of the game rather than at halftime. We talked. I pulled Mac, Sam, and Sailor in and just got some feedback from them and felt like maybe we were leaving some of our legs in warmups. And when you're down to 8 kids, you don't have to really warm up much. You know, was that an amen from you, Dorita? You don't have to do much. So we cut it back. I put everybody, coaches, we got out there. We were a little bit more involved in it. So I'm not going to say that had anything to do with it, but I also don't think it had nothing to do with it. I think we looked fresher. And yeah, it is ironic that it was 18. Both of them were 18. I didn't realize that. I usually don't try to look at the score if we're playing well. If we're not playing well, I do. But like if we're playing well, I didn't realize that's what the score was. Like whenever they scored their first basket, I reacted and Todd went, "Hey, you know, that's their first basket." And I was like, never mind. You know, I was more locked in. I think we were all fresher. We had 2 really good days. Let me answer that. No, I'm just kidding. We could have some fun with this. I'm just kidding. Leave it up here. I don't care. Oh, don't do that then. No need to apologize. I was trying to be funny. Obviously, I wasn't.
Coach, you guys made 10 threes and you scored 40 points in the paint. Just, how good of a sign is that for the offense, especially a key stretch here coming up?
And 14 at the foul line and only 11 turnovers against a team that pressed us until, I mean, they probably, if we had another possession, they'd probably press us again. I don't know. It's going to help me sleep well. I think it makes teams have to really prepare for a lot of different things for us. Like if you are going to pack the lane, we can hit threes. I thought our shot selection was amazing tonight. I think other than for a 1 or 2 there late when we were trying to maybe get to 90 or something, I thought none of our shots were rushed. I thought they were in rhythm. I thought our passing was really good. But to be balanced like that, and then you look up and you see 5 people in double figures too, that's hard to prepare for. Mac 22, 6 and 7 and 4. And I mean, I don't know who doesn't have her in a fantasy league, but they should have.
Talia, maybe not Sunday, but coming back soon. What do you think you or the girls have kind of learned about themselves in the stretch where you played without her?
Just that practice is really important, showing up every single day, regardless, staying ready so you don't have to get ready type deal. And I think it'll give us some confidence too that, if Mac and Sam need a break without being in foul trouble, there's somebody we can go to. I think that depth that we all talked about having in the preseason, I think maybe we do have it. So, but I think it's very rewarding for our kids that practice really hard. And Jenna gave us really good minutes tonight too. Jenna and Emery both.
Real quick, just what did you make of Miriam's performance, especially on the defensive end? Did a pretty good job down in the paint.
She did a really good job up there at their place too, but got in some early foul trouble, so she didn't get to do it the whole game. And Miriam doesn't get pissed very often, but she was pissed. She was mad. And when she gets that way, she got that very first foul, like on the first possession, and she looked at me, she went, "I'm okay." And I went, "Well, if you're okay, I'm okay." And then when she came out, she kind of got her head down. I said, "Listen, you got 2 fouls, not 5. So I don't know. I think she's, getting her confidence at a spot to where she understands. And to do it against Petty is, I said it up there. I think I'm never going to use the word most improved. I told y'all I got that award at camp one time and I hated the way it made me feel. She should get the award for did the most in the summer to improve herself. Like that kid worked her butt off this summer. And for Marion to do that job on her, hold her to 3 for 8. I know the kid got 16 rebounds, but that's effort stuff. But to hold her down to 6 and then get 16 and 7 on her own and 2 literal assists and probably another 4 or 5 hockey assists. She just continues to really mature, and it's fun to watch because she's such a good kid. You can't help but pull for her.
You think the quicker starting lineup took them a little bit by surprise?
Probably, yeah. I mean, there was no way they wouldn't have. We kept it a secret. I mean, a remarkable job. I mean, I was out there when they noticed it. Sailor came out in street clothes. So I've been on the other end of that before where you get all prepared to play a certain way. And then it's like, throw the scouting report out, none of this is going to work. So may have, because I thought we drove it by them. I mean, Carly drove it by her matchup several times. I thought we got the matchups we wanted going to the basket. And I think that got us confident early and then allowed us to really get good catch and shoot threes. But yeah, it had to probably have surprised them a little bit.
Speaking of rebounding, y'all hung in there pretty well on the glass despite not having Sailor. I guess what was it that y'all were telling the players before?
That it was going to have to be everybody. We couldn't just go, "Hey, Carly, get 10 defensive rebounds all of a sudden," because you're playing in her spot. That meant 2 more for Sam, 2 more for Mac, 2 more for all that. It was going to be a team deal, and it was top of the scout focal point. Our group, they will do their best to give you what you ask for. That's something I'm really proud. So it puts a lot of pressure on us as coaches to be right. But again, I thought the tone was set in that first quarter, the job that we did on the glass. And they got 20 because we forced a bunch of missed shots, when they miss, I think my math, that's 30. Is that 41 missed shots? I can't see it for sure. There's going to be some rebounds, but and some of those were late and some of those are dead balls, but focus on it. And again, with our group, they'll try to give you what you ask for.
Miss, not to mention Pat Summit night. I don't know if you were asked about it when we did the preview Zoom. I can't remember, but like,
I don't think there was.
Do you have any Pat Summit story or just kind of a statement?
I have only one, and it was right here in this gym. I was the director of basketball ops. And this was back in the day before we had emails and cell phones and all that, where you could text message. And I was in charge of shoot arounds, and we were playing Tennessee at home, and I was over here getting ready for them to come in at 6 o'clock. And it was about 10 till 5. And I start to go out to my car, and I look, and their bus is pulling up, and she's walking down the tunnel with the team. And I look at the watch, and I'm like, hour and 10 minutes early, which most days wouldn't be a problem, but Nolan Richardson was still practicing. Okay. And he wasn't going to get off the floor for Pat Summitt. I don't care how many games she'd won. So I immediately met him and said, "Hey, coach, how y'all doing? Welcome. I'm get you to your locker room. Y'all are here a little bit early." She goes, "No, we're about 5 minutes early, but we'll stay back here." And are they about done? I said, "No, they got another hour, because y'all don't go on till 6. And she immediately looked at her director of ops, who I would go on to work with later at another job. And we tell this story quite a bit. And at that point in time, I start sweating way worse than I'm sweating now, because I'm worried that I had given them the wrong time. And I'm going to have to try to negotiate a Nolan Richardson, Pat Summitt standoff. And I was not really. So I had to drive. This was when our offices were still in Barnhill. So I had to get my Jeep and drive over there, and I'm sweating, just praying that fax I had sent said 6 o'clock. And it did. And when I drove back over and I showed her, they had forgot to make a time zone change between the 5 and the 6 o'clock. So she said, "You know what? No problem. Thank you for being right. We'll be on this bus. Would you come get us if Coach Richardson's got off real soon?" And from that point on, every now and then she would see me on the road and say, "You were the guy that got the shoot around time right." And so that's all I really have. But as far as what she did for our game, I've said it in other times before that, I would not have probably fallen in love with women's basketball if not for watching some of her teams. But the way that she went about doing what she did, and then, being around her just a little bit. I never had very many encounters with her, but she was always super nice. And I saw how she treated people, and I always remember how she treated me.
Hard to transition from that, but
Yeah.
it's the last time we'll have you before Missouri.
Yeah.
I know y'all are super familiar with Missouri, but they have a lot of new faces this year.
Yeah,
just
they're different.
thoughts on them.
They're way different. So our familiarity just is going to know where to go eat and watch the men's game, and things like that. I think we've played them every Super Bowl Sunday since I've been back. It seems like we play them on Super Bowl Sunday. I think they play at 3 o'clock, and so the Chiefs will be playing. It's not Super Bowl Sunday, but it's playoff Sunday, right? I think the Chiefs play, so maybe that'll hurt their crowd, but they are way different. Even though they have a few familiar, they're big. I mean, we're going to have some matchup issues. We're going to have some things that we're going to have to work on. They're always going to be offensively really, really hard to guard. They stretch you, and now they can score around the basket at multiple spots too. Mama Dembele is one of the fastest kids in the league with the ball. Did they play tonight? Did they play Texas A&M? Still going on. I think it's a team. Again, we've played. Gosh, it seems like every year we play them. I know we play them twice but then we play them in the tournament too. I think we've played like 12 or 14 times in the last 4 or 5 years. So Robin's somebody is a confidant and somebody that I talk to an awful lot. We know each other very, very well. The scout will be a little different in the past, but it won't take us long to put it together. All right. Thanks, y'all.